Welcome everyone. Today we have a special preparation video for patch 1.5. In this video, we'll go through a number of resources and also preparation for patch 1.5, including the housing system and also the location of each of the trees, where can you loot those, and also the preparation for leveling up characters. So over here we have Eula and also Yanfei with different materials and also all the characters that's in the game. If you're preparing for Zhongli, if you're preparing for Diana, maybe in the Grom, we can have a look at those characters. We also have a lot of more footages from the live stream. We also have a very detailed checklist over here about the character materials we should be aware of, about the housing system of the items we need to collect, the quantities of those items, and also of the new event strategies. I think the strategies for the new events are very interesting. We'll go through those in more details with each of the events. In parts which we cannot use our own units, how do we go with those? What are the best loot for the talent books? We'll have a look at what are the characters that need what talent books, and we'll go through the talent book event. What are the talent books we should stock up? Either going to be the Leering Harbor characters, or we can go with the monster characters. So there's a lot of notes I prepared for patch 1.5, and also different team comps and also the tryhard comps for the Wind Trace tag competition, and also the weekly boss. What should we be aware of the weekly boss? And there is supposed to be a very special item called the Dream Solvent item. We'll talk about this on the Korean live stream, and how does this work to exchange different materials for the boss. So there's a lot of good things we'll talk about, and finally we'll talk about spending wisely and also setting a budget before patch 1.5 goes live, because we want to avoid impulse spending and also not overspending during the patch 1.5 hype. Now today's sponsor is By Filmorago, a wonderful piece of editing software that allows us to editing films on mobile phone devices with some very lovely special effects. And let's have a look how I can attempt to editing some of my films as I go. So together with the basics, which we can cut, we can trim, we can be adjusting, there's some wonderful features like the stickers over here, which if you're planning to make a YouTube video or maybe Instagram, you can have the subscriber buttons, you can have a lot of different features. You can also see the effects in the background, and we can play around with the effects. You can see me over here on my treadmill trying a different set of effects with the Ripple effects. Now I'm sure you guys can do something much more creative and also special on this piece of software. We can use the links below in the description to download Filmorago for free on your Google Play Store and also for your smart devices. Now make sure you guys also leave a comment in this video to be in the draw for 3 of the Filmorago Pro membership. Now coming over to a checklist for patch 1.5, you can see I have made 3 major points for the things we want to prepare. The first thing is going to be about the new characters. We know there will be Yanfei and also Zhongli will be the highlights for the particular banner. And also for Yanfei as a new patch 1.5 character, she will have different requirements for different materials. Her particular character Ascension material will consist of the 46 Juvenile Jade from the patch 1.3, the new elite boss. And also her talent books will come from the new weekly boss, which is the Geolord. And also want to be aware that Zhongli wants the Geo Hypostasis and also the Trout weekly loots. So if we come over here to some of the lovely guides from Davataki, who makes a lot of those detailed guides, we can see a majority of the characters that's in the game already, and if you want to have a look closely, we can see those characters like Eula and also Yanfei over here about the materials that's needed for those characters. Now usually with the character preparation, we stop at this stage, because we can see all the loots, but I'm sure you guys have noticed, those loots are a little higher than what we needed, because we don't need loots like that many talent books, we don't need that many gold books. Likely we'll get us go to level 7 or level 8, so what exactly do we need? So let's come back to one of our previous videos about leveling any character from level 1 to level 90, and if we go into the details of this one, it's much better because it shows you from level 1 to level 2 what do you need for the talent books, what are the moral costs and what are the book costs. Because I do plan to get my characters level 7 or 8 with the talent books, I don't really need the level 8 or the level 9 talent books. And this also helps me to tally up how much I need. Because, sometimes I don't plan to get a character over to level 90. Maybe level 80 is enough. So I don't need a lot of the materials that's, over excess. So do come over to this video, guys, if you do want to plan for your characters. If you're planning for the leveling up the characters for the materials of experience, if you're planning to level up your weapons, whether it's 5-star or 4-star, or if you're planning to go with the talents, if you're planning to go with artifacts, this one is very comprehensive. And I think this is a really good start to plan for any of the new characters that's coming to the game. Now while we're planning the materials for the new characters, it is also important to remember this particular gadget item, the Dust of Aethers. This particular item allows us to exchange the elements of the gemstones into another level. So whether you're needing a purple one, if you're needing a golden one, you can exchange those. And you can buy those from the Paimon shop So that's where I got the 1300 from. And this is really nice, because if I do have the spare ones and I don't have the time to farm for those hypo status, the monsters for those particular items, which can come very difficult, I can exchange them. And why do you want to exchange them? It's because for someone like Yanfei, she wants you to be farming a private geo shop, which can drop all sorts of the elemental loots. And also the weekly boss can drop different elemental loots. Notice that Yanfei is not encouraging us to farm the pile hypostasis. And because of that, things can get a little more difficult. If we don't want to spend too much resin farming for the materials, we can still use those particular items and exchange them for more efficiency. Now coming over to a second preparation highlight, which is going to be the new housing system. I'm super excited for this one. I know you might have seen this particular summary many times before, but I think it's still good if, for those of you who haven't seen it, to see exactly a month of the items that is needed. So I have this available, you can see this on the screen. I won't go through those in too much details, but you can see there's a vast quantity of items, especially silk flowers, and also the berries, and also, the common materials. Now if we come over to a few of the nice Reddit guide over here, so the first one we have is actually from Drake84 over here, who made a very good visual guide to show us what exactly craft into what. So the silk flowers, as we said, goes into the fabric and also for the flooring. The sunsetter and also carrots, valberry goes into the red dyes. So notice how this is a visual guide to tell us what we need. And we also need iron, we also need white iron, we also need 6 to 7 kind of different trees. And now if we come back to our notes over here, you can see the quantity of those items that is needed in the game. Now I'm sure you guys know how to find those items because there's a lot of interactive map. But the question is, how do you find those wood in the game? And luckily someone also posted a guide over here. So big thank you to Cosmic over here to make a very good location guide for the number of wood, for different types of wood in the game. Notice there is about 7 types of wood in the game, and if the one we didn't include was the bamboo. So somehow bamboo wasn't a type of wood. So as you can see over here, if you're looking for the trees in the game, you want to see what the tree look like. You also get to see the name of the tree and also location of the tree. This is quite important because as if we come back to our notes over here, we know the quantity of the trees or the wood we need, but we want to find them, right? So this guide tells us where to find them, where to chop them down, and where to loot them. And this is quite nice. So you can see in the dragon spine, this particular tree will be the pine wood. And similarly, the bamboo will come from the Bashu plain, which there's a lot of bamboo shoots as well. So if you're looking for the trees, guys, make sure you come over here and look at the location for the trees and start tagging those trees and start chopping them as quickly as we can. Now, in case you guys are wondering, why do we want to go for the housing system as quickly as we can? Because there's a number of loot we can actually purchase from the housing system, including the fabric, including the federal resin, a special type of those, and also including a lot of good things over here, the experience books, Mora, weapon experience, and also artifact experience. And similarly for the housing system, there's also a special merchant which sells different pets. That's right, different dogs, different cats you can purchase for the housing system, and also different decoration of rocks and also sceneries. So the housing system, preparing for those is quite important to get as many resources as we can and start purchasing those when those merchants become available. Now, if you haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so. Make sure you also turn the bell on for the latest news as I find more of them for us. You can see that we're really dedicated for Genshin Impact. We'll have builds, guides, tips, news, and events updates for everything that's Genshin Impact related. Now coming over to a third point of the preparation for patch 1.5. We know there are a lot of different events in the game, and if you guys haven't seen those events, I do recommend coming over to this video, which will talk about those events in the game. We also made a summary of the highlights of the live stream. So knowing those events in the game, what are the preparations, what are the things we should be aware of those events? This is more of a brief summary. When the events come out, we'll make more detailed guides. But some of the highlights you guys might have missed from the live event is that for the free Diana event, there will be 11 shard slots which will unlock the power of the special buffs, and this will actually unlock depending on the character levels we have currently. So if our character level is not high enough, we might not be able to unlock all of the 11 shard for the event, and you'll be missing out on some of the really good buffs. There's two ways to do this. One way is to borrow a high level unit from your friends. So if you start making some friends, if you start adding some people with really high level units, level 80, level 90 units, this can help you unlock the ruin system for this particular event. Similarly, we have had the talent book event, which was hinting at us maybe we should be leveling up some characters. So leveling up new characters might become more rewarding, because as we level those characters up, not only do we get the special wishes from leveling them to level 50 and also leveling them to level 70 for the special wishes that we get as a reward, we can also potentially unlock more of the resource for this particular event. Now the second highlight from the event preparation is going to be the Mist Dungeon event. In this particular event, during the livestream, it will show that we cannot use the characters we have. We have to use the 10 preset characters that's given to us. I'm sure there will be more available characters than those 10, so once the event comes available, we'll make a special build guide on how to synergize with your characters, what are the 4 stars to use, what are the 5 stars to use. And for this particular event, because we cannot use the characters we have, it is important that we actually plan a little ahead. So usually, when the event comes out, it will be 3 5-star characters and 7 4-star characters. So what we want to do is, once we have more information on the event, we want to be planning how to combine those characters. Just as a small tip, we do want to have characters of special elements to counter the trap device in the dungeon. Because during the livestream, there's a lot of trap device that you can deactivate depending on the element of your characters. I do believe that the pyro characters can deactivate the hydro devices. So depending on the elements of the characters the team comes, this can be quite interesting. So very excited for this, and once we have more information on the event, we'll actually start to prepare for a number of different builds for the level 80 characters. So none of us are really overpowered, everyone's on the same level, and this event is very interesting. Now coming over to a third event for the double talent book drop event. For this event, we need to be prepared at least 60 resin a day for 1 week, because we get the double loot from the 20 resin drop, which give us double the loot from the talent books. But the question is, what are the best talent books we want to stock up? Because we might not have a need for the talent books, but it's very valuable to spend the resin for this particular event. So what I recommend is to see what is needed most by your team. And what I mean by that is, if you try to level up a net, you can go with resistance books. If you're going for Zonely, we can go with the gold books. But to give you guys a better summary, I have found a wiki for different characters that needs different books. So have a look over here. Depending on the monster heroes or the Living Harbor heroes, you'll have a look at the characters you want to level up. And to go from there, if you're planning to go with Negron, you can go with the prosperity books and stock those up. Or if you're planning to go with Zonely, if you're planning to go with Sinchu or any of the characters here, you can plan for the gold books. So this way, you can plan ahead of stocking up a lot of those talent books. And in the future, if you do plan to use a supporting character, maybe Diana, Sakros, or maybe a DPS character like Klee or Child, you can prepare those books ready. So this way, you know what other books to stock up. Because the particular talent book event gives us a lot of value. But the question is, which one to stock up, right? So my answer will be, check your team and look at what you need the most, and stock those up. And because we got to see, there's a number of characters that want the same thing. The Luke, Bennett, Noel, Razor all want these resistance books. So if you have a lot of characters in one category, maybe it's better to stock those books up over the others. Now, fourth point is about the Wind Trace event. For this particular event, there will be a tag of war and also hide and seek. Now what I was thinking about this event is, maybe we can start looking into a running speed team. Someone like Kaya, someone like Razor will reduce the stamina cost and also allows us to keep sprinting. Someone like Rosaria and also Diana give us faster movement speed, depending on the knight or depending if we have a shield. We can also have 2 animal characters for stamina reduction and also movement speed. And also like someone like Shao, someone like, Kachin, Zonely or Venti have a special E spell effect, which give us better distance. We can also go prepare some potions, running speed, stamina potions, and we'll become super hardcore and super prepared for this event. And I was like, why am I so serious for this one? So I was thinking about the PvP event. Once the event comes out, we'll find the best hiding spot and the best things to turn into. But before then, I think running speed will be a big factor. Because during this event, a special loot box will drop from the sky, and whoever gets there first will have a special bonus and also have a greater chance of winning the event. So if you run faster with those characters, we can have advantage. Now the fifth point we want to look at is going to be the 50% resin reduction to the weekly bosses every week. Now the first thing we need to know is, this only works for 3 bosses, which reduce the cost to 30 resin. Now there will be 4 bosses that's coming to the game with the latest Geolord. Now the question I do have is, what if you don't have the time or the stamina to fight all 4 of the bosses? What are the best 3 bosses for you? And we'll answer this shortly, but usually my answer is, we do want to try to fight all 4 of the bosses, especially with a very high chance of a new item that's coming to the game. I do believe this was not mentioned on the livestream, but this was having a sneak peek on the Korean livestream. So what I mean by over here is, if we come to the Korean livestream, I took a screenshot, you can see this is a weekly boss loot from Child. Those are the Child materials, and you can see a particular item over here from the Korean 1.5 livestream. This particular item is supposed to be the Dream Solvent. This item will allow us to exchange the boss materials from one to one into the other one from the same boss. What I mean by that is, notice the Child dropped 2 of the boss items, but we might not want those 2, we might want the other one that is not dropped. This particular Dream Solvent will give us a chance to exchange the items we have on Child into the other item, so this can be really good. And this is why it's so much more rewarding if we're actually fighting all 4 of the weekly bosses. Because what I heard is, this particular Dream Solvent item will have about 25 or 50% drop rate for each of the weekly boss. And this will allow us to convert the items we don't want into the items we want. But it is locked within the same boss. So if it's item from Child, you can only exchange items from Child. Now, in case you guys are still wondering, what are the best weekly boss for you? So if you have a particular set of characters, coming to the wiki again, we can see the weekly boss drops for different characters. So look at the characters in your group and you can see what characters are contesting for what items. So for the Mondstadt characters, they're going for Endurance because he's the wolf of Mondstadt, and also they're going for Dividend. So notice most of the characters here are the Mondstadt characters. As we come to the Lorraine Harbor characters, we can see Child over here. And what you do notice is, the new characters that's coming into the game will likely to come with the Geolord, so characters like Yanfei, characters like Eula will be on the next weekly boss. So you can see the weekly boss over here for most of the characters. But again guys, I do recommend us to fight the weekly boss now, because once we kill all 4, we do have a higher chance of getting this new item. Now because it wasn't mentioned in the English livestream on the Chinese livestream, people are wondering why this is not mentioned. Because this is a really good highlight, right? So maybe because this item was dropped randomly and during the livestream it wasn't dropping. Or maybe the developers were giving us a surprise. So very soon the patch notes will come out, we can also get to see this one, very likely. Now you guys can tell I'm really excited for the new patch. But what's very important guys, as a tip for any of the new patches, it's about spending and also setting a budget with each of the new patch. Because once the patch goes live, there'll be videos, there'll be hypes on Reddit, YouTube, social media, and you get excited. You see people rolling for characters, and people getting really good luck on getting Yanfei or Zhongli with a few wishes. And this is when we try those characters, we might lose the 50-50, we might not get the 4 stars we wanted. And this can be very difficult. So it's very important guys, we plan and also mentally prepare ourselves ahead to avoid impulse spending. A lot of us, especially for people who are not familiar with gacha games or the RNG random gambling games, the RNG factor psychologically impacts us greatly. And if you're not mentally prepared, you may be spending too much before you know it. Because you'll be like, I just want this character, I prepared everything for him, and he's not coming, right? So prepare mentally. I'll also make a video to see how much more free Primal Gems we can get for Zhongli. So this way, even if you don't get him right away, you're not going to spend too much money. You can wait for the free-to-play Primal Gems, then consider your own financial situations. Because currently, a lot of us are still suffering from the COVID situation, and hopefully that gets better. And in those tough situations, it is very important to consider our financial capacities, so we don't want to overspend and then regret later because we spent too much into the game. So as with all of the patches, I really want to warn you guys to not spend too much and also mentally prepare for a bad randomness. And then once you're mentally prepared, you also have the guarantee that we can plan ahead for new characters and also save more Primal Gems. Now on the topic of randomness and also characters, I do plan to make a special video on rolling for Zhongli and also Yanfei, and giving you guys some of the raids, some of the ways to get better raids, some of the things to plan for those. What can you expect out of 50 rolls, 70 rolls, or maybe 90 rolls? How can you expect your 4-star and how do you expect the 5-star to come? So I'll make a special gacha video on those 2 characters very soon. Now hopefully you guys like this particular checklist. I did think a lot of things that I can help you guys to prepare for patch 1.5. Whether it's to upgrade your characters, whether it's to prepare for the housing material, to look for different guides and also visual guides over here with the location and also the visual guides, or maybe just about patch 1.5 live event and how I can prepare for those. So let me know what you guys think about those preparations and what are your tips and also thoughts, and let us know in the comments below if you have any great ideas to prepare for patch 1.5. And when the patch comes live, let us know as well if you find a special hint or special secret or maybe special achievement, maybe special chest. So there's a lot more things we can look for in patch 1.5. Now if you found this video helpful, Make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.